What up, people? Happy Thursday. Welcome to another edition of the Finance Rebel Show. I'm your host, Kamari Ellis. Now, y'all know normally I'm here on Wednesdays, but I made a promise to y'all last night. Last night we were talking about the top 10 tax fraud cases of 2021 according to the IRS. And so we didn't get through them all. And y'all said y'all wanted to come back today and talk about some more of them. So I'm just trying to fulfill my promise. So I'm here to talk about them. So come on in, fill the seats, share this out with some other people who might find this interesting. If you want to understand what not to do, how not to get caught up in the tax system, how to actually do the right thing and maximize your funds, this is the show for you. This is the show for you. So again, I'm Kamari Ellis. Normally I'm here on Wednesdays. Tonight I'm here on Thursdays. Share this out with a friend or two, and we're going to get this cracking. Now, ironically, I have the cases from the IRS, but I also have another case. My homegirl, Alexandria, my tax sister, the home biz tax lady, also shared this other case that was in my hometown. So, we got to talk about this, but guess what? I'm not staying on all night with y'all. Work has been kicking my butt. I need some rest. I ain't got my vittles, but we still gonna have a good time. So come on in. Make yourself at home, get comfortable, get your vittles, get your libation, get you something to drink, and strap in, folks. So again, all right, I see a couple people came in. What's up, Frank? How are you, sir? Thanks for joining us. Jose is in the building. How are you? Welcome. And my apps is here too. All right, cool. So last night, we got going on a couple of the cases. We got through a good bit of them, but not all of them. And tonight, again, we wanted to talk about the other ones. Now, I remember some of the ones that we covered. I didn't write them down. I didn't take good notes. But I saw a couple that we didn't get to. So I know we got the number 10, the Albuquerque dude who stole money from a nonprofit. I know we got the number 9, which is the Rochester man going to prison in order to pay millions of dollars in restitution for his Ponzi scheme, right? Millions of dollars. The Orlando sisters, right? 25 million tax fraud scheme. We talked about the Russian bank because that was the guy who tried to denounce his United States citizenship because he skated off with like $1 billion. He got super greedy. Now, I don't think we talked about the Ontario man who ran a multi-million-dollar unlicensed Bitcoin exchange. I don't think we got to that one. I don't think we got to number 5. Again, the owner of a Bitcoin exchange sentenced to prison for money laundering. And I don't think we got to this one. Ex-pastor of Orange County Church sentenced to 14 years. Y'all let me know. I did get to some of these, but I don't think we did. We got to number 3. I remember that because this is the payday loan fraud guy, $8 million in tax evasion. We didn't talk about the DC solar panel, and we did talk about San Fernando Valley. The family member sentenced 2 years in prison. It was like a whole bunch of them. Yes. Okay, so all right, y'all find it interesting. All right, cool. My app said this is interesting. Yes, Akira, as promised, I try. I'm not always successful, but I try to keep all my obligations, promises. I mean, to me, that's what a high value man is. People that keep their word without all the other shenanigans. But, I'm here, and you're here. So you kept your obligation to me too. So I definitely appreciate you. Now, there's another case, like I just said, that came up in my hometown of Philadelphia, PA. I can't make this stuff up, guys. I really can't. So I'm going to do that one first. Now, warning, I didn't get a chance to read through all of it, but it's some shenanigans. All of these things are some shenanigans. But again, I like to do these because, everybody's always talking about how to get over on the system. Thinking that they're just going to be able to get over, get their bag, and run forever and be fruitful and prosperous and multiply with all the stolen money they've gotten from the federal government. But 9 times out of 10, criminals aren't that smart. They usually get caught, and the government isn't as dumb as everybody thinks they are. But, it's just, it is what it is. But I'm going to bring up this other case, go through this real quick, and then we'll come back. And y'all let me know which cases y'all want to cover first. But this one, let's see. Let's blow this up. Can y'all see that? Let's see. All right, y'all should be able to see that. I know I need glasses, so sometimes I can't see everything. Northeast Philly tax preparer pleads guilty to 29 counts of filing false tax returns. Now, just a little bit of backstory. I've been in and around the tax business since the 80s. I was doing taxes by hand while, folks just learned how to do taxes with data entry. Sadly, there's always been people trying to get over on their taxes, whether it's earned income credit, filing fake employee expenses, creating fake businesses, filing pets that are not theirs, that are not legally supposed to go on your tax return. I've seen a lot. So 29 counts doesn't necessarily shock me, but sometimes the audacity of people makes me wonder why they do certain things. But all right, let's get at it. All right, so again, Northeast Philly tax preparer pleads guilty to 29 counts of filing false tax returns. I can't read this guy's name, but it's Eric Amafuna, 65 years old, of King of Prussia, pleaded guilty to engaging in a multi-year scheme to assist clients with filing false income tax returns in order to fraudulently increase the amount of the refund they received. Isn't it amazing how everything always revolves around these stinking refunds? All right, so in April 2021, the defendant was charged by indictment with 29 counts of aiding and assisting in the preparation of false income tax returns. At the time of the charged conduct, Amafuni was the owner of American Financial Stewardship. What a name. Stewardship is actually one of my favorite words. A tax preparation business on Bustleton Avenue in Northeast. So that's in the Northeast. And that's the Northeast section. Traditionally, that was a white area. It's starting to change over now, but a long time ago, not that long, in the 80s and 90s, folks that looked like me were not welcome, just to kind of paint the picture. But I'm not sure of the race of this criminal. All right, so the prepared false and fraudulent IRS personal income tax 1040 returns for client taxpayers for at least tax years. Okay, so at least 2 years, tax years 2014 through 2016. The defendant, I'm gonna just read this here. I'm not gonna have y'all look at this. The defendant added attachments to the IRS forms that were also false. And that they claimed false or inflated employee business expenses, inflated state and local taxes, false or inflated miscellaneous deductions, and losses that were entirely fictitious or falsely inflated. These falsities resulted in the filing of personal income tax returns claiming refunds due to the client taxpayers which they were not entitled to receive. So they scammed the system. Right? They scam the system. And again, listen to the language that these people are using. Our system of taxation relies upon taxpayers contributing their fair share to the federal government, and preparers are supposed to help them do that by accurately reporting income and expenses. And I emphasize accurately because there's a lot of people that want me and other of my professional, ethical, integral tax professional friends to just make up stuff, to just dream up numbers, slap it on a return, and then send it to the IRS and they think that's not a crime. They think it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Just change the number here, change the number there. It'll be all fine. It'll be okay. No, it's not. And again, remember I was talking last night about how they use this language, because they're always painting the narrative that these folks are dastardly criminals who always want to get over. All right. So here it says, as we approach the start of the tax filing season, it's important that taxpayers are very diligent when it comes to filing an accurate tax return. Says IRS Criminal Investigation Special Agent in Charge, Yuri Kruti, I think that's his name. For those who choose to use a tax return preparer, filing an accurate, again, the word accurate, that's a common theme, accurate. An accurate tax return starts with staying clear of unscrupulous tax return preparers. Now, who do y'all think will be considered an unscrupulous tax preparer? How would you go about identifying who is an unscrupulous tax preparer? That's a question for y'all. I would like to hear some of your answers. Please put them in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Remember, you as a tax preparer are ultimately responsible for filing a timely, complete, and accurate return. Stuff I say every day, but a lot of times y'all get mad at me because I say this stuff. So again, this guy was found guilty of 29 counts, falsifying tax returns, and they're throwing a book at him. But again, I like to cover these tax cases because they are a guide. They are a guide to tell you what to do, what to steer clear of. So accuracy matters. That if you're going to be accurate, you can't make up numbers. You have to be able to, what they call, substantiate numbers, prove numbers, show that there's an actual record of these numbers that came from somebody other than what you made up on your dining room table. All right, so again, keep that in mind. So again, I want to know, what do y'all think a good indication is of a person that is an unscrupulous tax preparer? My man Jose comes through. Anyone who tells you that they can guarantee you a large return. Now, again, we're all smart people here. We're not dumb. If you're not dumb, you don't belong here. Just leave. Because my expectations for you are too high. And you're going to fail. But I want to let you know that in advance because I expect you to act like a smart person. So anybody that tells you they can guarantee you a large tax return and they don't know you, they don't know any of your situation. Remember, personal finance is personal. But they can guarantee you a tax return. And here is the chief criminal investigator telling you what they want from people. You know how to say there's writing on the wall. There's writing on the walls. You can read the writings on the wall. Excuse me, y'all need some water. You know how they say that you can tell what's going on just by paying attention to the writing on the walls. Well, again, that's why I like to read these cases. The judges say things, the prosecutors / attorneys say things, the criminal investigators say things, and they're all clues. They're all little breadcrumbs to guide you to what they would call compliant behavior. Basically, behavior that's not going to get you in trouble. Now, listen, we just had MLK Day, so MLK got into a lot of trouble. That's not the kind of trouble I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the trouble of the right wrongs, right? It's law to pay taxes. It's been law for quite some time. But why even go through this? So, again, that's the pattern, all right? So my app says there are crooked preparers all over. They try to get business by promoting the biggest refunds. Wait. Nope, wrong one. Wrong one. There we go. I'm going to get this soundboard together for y'all at some point. Right, so again, they keep doing these same things over and over again. But what do you see every tax season? Every tax season we see a stupid ad saying, we can guarantee you the largest return or refund, excuse me. And this year is going to be no different. And I'm going to tell you why. This year is going to be a hefty year. Some of the credits that are available, that are coming out, especially for the dependent care credit, are going to be hefty. They're going to be hefty. But everybody's not going to qualify. And there are some people out there talking about those now, talking about how you can get a whole bunch of money. And again, usually those things attract those advertisements, right? Those big tax refund advertisements attract people in a certain social economic level. Sadly, a lot of times they're desperate for money. So these preparers and even some of the big corporations do this to attract that clientele, basically preying on those type of people. But I'm hoping that, since y'all watch this show, y'all let them know. Y'all brothers and sisters, Tamika and Jamal, Aisha, y'all gonna let them know that we don't need to fool with them. We don't need to mess with them at all. They are a problem. They are a big problem. So that's that one case. All right, so let's go back. I'm going to start with the ex-pastor. All right, I'm going to start with the ex-pastor of Orange County Church, sentenced to 14 years in federal prison for orchestrating $33 million con that defrauded investors. These folks never stop. These folks never stop. All right, so I'm going to show this. Now, tell me, what's some of the wildest tax season advertisements y'all seen? Y'all know you got the Dancing Liberty dude. There's a couple other people that are running around, dancing around in traffic. But what are some of the craziest advertisements y'all seen for tax season? Put it in the comment. All right, so here we got, again, ex-pastor of Orange County Church sentenced to 14 years in federal prison. Now, this was what number was this? Somebody keep right. This was number 4 on that list from the IRS. Number 4. So, Santa Ana, California, the former pastor of the Westminster-based Church of the Healthy Self was sentenced today to 168 months in federal prison for orchestrating a church-based investment scam that took in more than $33 million. 33 million. That's a lot of money. Now, somebody in the chat tell me 168 months divided by 12. How many years is that? I'm really interested. How many years is that? All right, so Kent R. Whitney, formerly of Newport Beach, but who currently resides in Northern California, was sentenced by the United States District Judge Josephine Staten, who was also ordered him to pay $22,662,668 in restitution. Whitney pleaded guilty in November 2020 to 2 counts of information charging him with mail fraud. Remember, we talked about mail fraud last night. Another one of those big cases involving a nonprofit. Churches are typically nonprofits, or what some call not-for-profits. And here we have people taking advantage of the trust that they have with people in the community. All right? There's a pattern here. There's a pattern. Can you see it? Can you see it? All right, so with mail fraud and filing a false federal income tax return. You know, back in my day, the smartest criminals didn't talk, didn't write stuff down, didn't leave a trail, but amazingly, they all do that now. All right, so at Whitney's direction, CHS representatives. Oh, wait a minute. I think I missed the part. All right, so from September 2014 to April 2019, Whitney schemed to defraud investors through the Church of Healthy Self Church, CHS, a nonprofit corporation. Yes, folks, nonprofits are corporations typically. And its related entities, including CHS Asset Management, Whitney founded these entities, operated them out of a strip mall in Westminster, and claimed to be pastor of CHS. All right, so here we go. At Whitney's direction, CHS representatives appeared on television and at live seminars at CHS offices to solicit investments in CHS Trust, the church's investment arm. Recording of these appearances frequently were uploaded onto YouTube. So I hope in this case, birds of a feather don't flock together. Hopefully y'all don't lump me in with these folks, because many of y'all are on YouTube right now. I don't want none of that smoke. Like I told y'all, I do not look good in federally issued clothing. Socks, shoes, belts, drawers, none of it. I want no problem with none of it. I don't look good in any of it. All right, so I think that text might be a little small. Let me blow that up for y'all. Can y'all see that? Chime in and tell me in the chat if you can see the text. That might be a little too big. All right, let me know in the text if y'all can see that. All right, so in these appearances as at Whitney's direction, CHS representatives made false or misleading claims, including CHS Trust guaranteed an annual rate of return of 12%. So they guaranteed basically that each one of their funds was going to do about 1% per month at every year. So 12% a year. Then their CHS Trust guaranteed a return of principal with no risk. No risk. There's only one entity. Well, I'll say two, but for this exercise, there's only one entity that can guarantee you something of no risk. Can anybody take a guess who that is? We are in accounting and finance class right now. Who can tell you that you have no risk? By law, there's only one entity. Excuse me, y'all. Can anybody tell me that? Chime in the chat. I want to see if y'all paying attention. Can anybody tell me what entity can tell you that there's no risk associated with any of their investments or money dealings? There's only one. All right, so Jose says he can see now. All right, Jose also says she may as well have said life with the amount of restitution. Yes. Yes. All right, so we got an answer. Somebody put an answer in. All right. Some are getting jammed up on PPP fraud. Yes, we've covered them. All right, okay, 14 years. So 168 months is 14 years. Jeez Louise. That's crazy. All right. So my app said the government is the only one. The government, the federal government, some of the states too, but the federal government is the only one that can say they are going to issue you a risk-free return. Nobody else. Nobody else. No risk really in T-bills. There's no risk in T-bills. Not really. There is no risk in T-bills. There is no risk in any federal government issued instrument. None whatsoever. Zero, zilch, nada. All right, so I want y'all to keep that in mind. So again, I like to cover these things because they leave all kind of jewels. They leave all kind of things that will clue you in on when something is a little fishy and when some things are a little too good to be true. All right. Again, that's why I do this here. It's a learning moment, y'all. All right, so let me take that down real quick. So, all right, CHS Trust guaranteed a return of principal for no risk because it was federally insured. You can also not make false claims also. The worst return received during the previous 5 years was a 1.5% profit for the month of January 2015. Traders used by CHS has not lost money in 15 years, and CHS was audited by accounting firm KPMG. If y'all Google KPMG, you'll see they've been installed in a few things too. So in fact, little investor money went into any trading accounts. Now this is the reality. Relying on these false statements, victim investors send out more than $33 million to CHS from 2014 to 2019 As part of the scheme, Whitney directed that monthly statements be sent to victims that contained false reports of investment returns. Sounds kind of Bernie-ish. Sounds kind of Madoff-ish to me. Anybody remember that? Wasn't that long ago. Was not that long ago. All right, Whitney directed the monthly statement. All right, we got that. Whitney intended to lull victims into believing their money had been invested and was consistent with the false claims made by CHS representatives. Whitney also made approximately $11 million in Ponzi type payments to investors. So remember, when you do a Ponzi scheme, you take some money in, right? You get some of the money in, then you pay some of it out to make people believe that you're legit, that you're doing your thing, that this is real, and you have great investment acumen, and you are the man, you are the investment god. And then after that's over with, they tend to back out. They tend to change. So it was all good just a week ago. But then things change real quick. All right? Things change real quick. So keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. So he got in 33. He paid out. He brought in 33. He paid out 11. So he paid out roughly a third. I wonder if that's a formula. Whitney also knowingly and willingly signed and filed a false federal income tax return that reported that his total income for the total income for tax year 2018 was $17,539. In fact, as Whitney knew, his true income for that year was at least $452,872. Of which $435,333, again, $435,000, right, was obtained via Whitney's CHS fraud. So isn't it interesting that sometimes these people will show you all this inflated money and they make a little bit of money legitimately, but 90 or 70% of it came from quote unquote ill-gotten gains. I've seen a pattern like that in many, many places. All right. The IRS criminal investigation and FBI investigated this matter. The Securities and Exchange Commission provided substantial assistance with the investigation. So again, here this guy made off with $33 million, paid back $11 million in his Ponzi scheme, and he got caught. Now, you ever wonder why I always say this is for entertainment and educational purposes only, which these are. This is not tax advice. This is not legal advice. This is not investment advice. Because I don't want to make any false claims. I used to be securities licensed. I was Series 6, Series 7, 65, Life and Health. And they beat into you some stuff you can say, some stuff you can't say. Typically, you're not supposed to recommend anything whatsoever. Not in this form, because anything on YouTube will be considered advertisements. Anything that's an advertisement is considered advertising to the public. So you can get in trouble for that. And so here we have this church who has a nonprofit status that is advertising that they can get 12% every year, which is actually very sexy. And on their lower fund, they can get, 1.5% profit every year. What was that? Yeah, 1.5%. So again, that looks sexy. And I would bet the demographic of the people that were in this church were probably skewing towards the older age. And I would also bet that many people in this demographic probably had a lower educational level. Now, this isn't to slight anybody that's older, slight anybody that's not as educated as the next. Just to say that certain people get profiled. Right? It's a sad existence that exists throughout life, throughout history. It's not right. It's sad. But again, these are clues of things you want to look out for. So don't be so ready to just take any old deal. Don't be just ready to work with any old body. Make sure these people have check records. Make sure you check their resumes. All right, so we're going to move on, but let's check it. My app says in AAA rated state bonds where they have to liquidate property to pay you if necessary. Yep. That's why I said state funds sometimes. But it gets tricky because some state or municipal stuff isn't risk free, and it gets tricky. Some stuff is tax based, some stuff isn't, or tax revenue based. Some stuff isn't. So it gets a little tricky. All right, so that was what number was that? That was number 4 on that list. All right, so we covered my hometown crook who was bilking people out of money in the Northeast. And then we got this guy out of California. Now, one thing I got to say is some people actually know that they're going to these quote unquote criminal establishments, and they're okay with it. I get it, because they feel that they can get more bang for their buck. Without saying too much, in my tax group, or one of my tax groups, they were talking about, do tax preparers get audited? And if tax preparers get audited, do their clients get audited? And so that came up earlier today, and I did say yes, and I experienced it. I lost clients in the early 2000s because there was supposedly a person that could guarantee a great return. And some of my clients went with that person. Cool. Not mad. Still friends with them to this day. Lo and behold, what happens? Tax lady got audited. All her clients got audited. They all got jammed up. Hard. So, again, everything that glitters is not gold. All right, so let's jump into the rest of these, because I ain't staying here all night. I ain't ate. Got to get my vittles, and we're going to keep it going. Go ahead, chime in with any questions you might have about some of these cases, any recommendations or suggestions you want to see me cover, because we have, I believe, we got number 5, which is the owner of the Bitcoin exchange. We have, I feel like we did the Ontario man, right? So we did the Ontario man. All right, so I think only 5 and 2 are left. I think 5 or 2 is left. Can I get a fact check on that? Can somebody fact check me? But while we're here, let's go into the owner of the Bitcoin exchange. All right, so, IRS wants me to give them some feedback. All right, so owner of Bitcoin exchange sentenced to prison for money laundering. Oh, you don't say. Now, for the record, most people who are involved in Bitcoin aren't laundering money, but that is definitely the narrative that the government is portraying. Okay, so a Bulgarian national, let me increase the size so we all can follow along at the same time. All right, so a Bulgarian national who was convicted by a federal jury for his role in transnational and multi-million-dollar scheme to defraud American victims was sentenced today to 121 months in prison. Jeez, that's a long time. All right. According to trial evidence, Lusvalov owned and managed RG Coins. Oh, where's JT Coins at? I need him to chime in on this. A cryptocurrency exchange headquartered in Sofia, Bulgaria. According to the evidence at trial, Lusvalov knowingly and intentionally engaged in business practices designed to both assist fraudsters laundering the proceeds in their fraud and to shield himself from criminal liability. At least 5 of Lusvalov's principal clients in Bulgaria were Romanian scammers who belonged to a criminal enterprise known in court records as Alexandria online auctions fraud. All right, so more specifically, according to court documents and evidence presented at trial, Lusvalov and his co-conspirators participated in a criminal conspiracy that engaged in a large-scale scheme of online auction fraud that victimized at least 900 Americans. Romanian-based members of this conspiracy posted false advertisements to popular online auction and sales websites such as Craigslist and eBay, For high cost goods, typically vehicles. I actually know somebody who got scammed for a vehicle. There is no threshold to what people will scam and will not scam for. All right, so for high cost vehicles, for high cost goods, typically vehicles that did not actually exist. Once victims were convinced to send money, the conspiracy engaged in a complicated money laundering scheme wherein domestic associates would accept victims' funds, convert those funds to crypto, transfer funds in the form of crypto to foreign-based money launderers. Lusoff was one of such foreign-based money launderers who facilitated this final step in the scheme. Well, clearly all scammers don't go to heaven. All right, so according to evidence at trial, Lusoff designed his business to cater to criminal enterprises. So he basically went after, tailor-made, and made it sexy for criminals to work with him. For instance, providing more favorable exchange rates to members of that network. He also allowed his criminal clients to conduct cryptocurrency exchanges for cash without requiring any identification or documentation to show the source of funds. Some would call that KYA, know your customer. So he didn't do any due diligence on his clients. All right, despite his representations to the contrary to the major Bitcoin exchanges that supported his business, evidence submitted during trial and his sentencing hearing revealed that Lusoff laundered nearly $5 million in cryptocurrency for 4 of these 5 scammers in a period of less than 3 years. This represented over $7 million in funds defrauded from the American victims. In return, Lusoff made $184. So I guess he got a commission for the transaction. I get it. All right, so he was convicted after a 2-week trial in front of Judge Weir in Frankfort, Kentucky in September 2020. Under federal law, Lusoff must serve 85% of his prison sentence. So getting off light or getting off for good behavior in many of these instances just won't work. It just won't work, okay? All right, and then they talk about the 17 members of the network that were involved have been convicted for their role in this scheme, including Lusoff. 7 others have been sentenced, including, I'm not going to read the name. So one guy got 82 months. Another person got 50 months in prison. Another person got 31 months in prison. 40, 30, 37, 96 months in prison. And 3 of the members are fugitives. All right. So the investigation was now check this out. The investigation was conducted. Let me put this back on the screen. The investigation was conducted by the IRS Criminal Investigations, U.S. Secret Service, Kentucky State Police, Lexington Police Department, and the United States Postal Investigation Service, and supported by the Justice Department Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force. So, when it comes to tax fraud, you have some rinky-dink preparers in Philadelphia that file fake tax returns, and then you have some sophisticated folks that are operating international crime rings. I mean, you can do it everywhere, anywhere, especially with the internet now, right? So, all right, so we got through that one. Let's see any more. Now, again, if you're new here, don't know me from a can of paint, I'm Kamari Ellis. I'm the host of the Finance Rebel Show. You're watching the Finance Rebel Show. The show is dedicated to helping people in my community, the Black community, increase their overall financial IQs. So we talk about stocks, business, money, a lot of taxes, real estate. Anything about money is on the table. We can talk about it. Any connections to money, we talk about it. It's on the table. All right. So let's see. So we hit number 5. Oh, the other thing is, we talked about that last case, right, where they were selling fake goods, false goods, phony goods on Craigslist, eBay. You got to be careful where you're buying stuff from. I'm sure there were some transactions that went on Facebook as well, because Facebook Marketplace is open for people as well. So when you see a deal, vet a deal. If it's too good to be true, more than likely it is. All right. So DC solar owner. All right, so let's look at this one. DC solar owner. Ah, look who's in the building. Duchess Robinson. How you doing, Duchess? Happy, what is it, Thursday? Happy Thursday. Duchess actually helps me out from time to time with some of my websites. But she's usually too busy for me. She's like big time. Big time. But she's a big supporter. She shares my stuff all the time. All right, so let's get back to this other case. DC solar owner is sentenced to 30 years in prison for $1 billion Ponzi scheme. $1 billion, y'all. Big B. Big B. All right, so let's check this out. All right. Sacramento, California, and owner of DC Solar. I don't even know how to say that country's name. Benicia? Is that a country? I never heard of that before. Listen, I don't fake nothing, y'all. If I don't know, I don't know. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Ain't no future in front. All right, so Benicia-based company was sentenced today for $1 billion Ponzi scheme, the biggest criminal fraud scheme in the history of the Eastern District of California. All right. Jeff Karpoff of Martinez, this guy got sentenced to 30 years in prison on January 24th of 2020. Karpoff pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. His wife, Paulette Karpoff, also pleaded conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States and money laundering. All right, so it was a family business. It was a family affair that they was getting it down together. The government's investigation has resulted in approximately $120 million in assets forfeited to the United States government intended to seek authorization to use towards restitution to victims of the fraud. All right. According to court documents between 2011 and 2018, DC Solar manufactured mobile solar generator units, also known as MSGs, which were solar generators that were mounted on trailers and were promoted as able to provide emergency power to cell phone towers and lighting at sporting events. A significant incentive for investors who were generous federal tax credits due to the solar nature of the MSG. So here, they were promoting these generators. They were promising that they would get federal tax credits because of solar benefits. A lot of times, some solar cars and solar or alternative energy upgrades and investments to your home are also write-offs, and there's some others as well. All right, so the conspirators carried out an accounting and lease revenue fraud using Ponzi-like circular payments. Again, circular, round and round, in and out. Karpoff and others lied to investors about the market demand of DC Solar's MSGs and its revenues from leasing to third parties. Then covered up these lies with techniques, including false financial statements, fake lease contracts. Their fraud concealed a circular payment structure where Karpoff and others were simply using new investor money to pay older investors. Now we saw that, right? We saw that. We saw that, right? Several times in this thing. That is okay. Gene's here. What's up, Gene? Thank you. So Benicia is in Cali. I did not know that. Thank you for that correction. All right, so we see these same patterns, these same things happening over and over and over again. All right, it's not hard to tell, y'all. All right, so as we get back to this, all right, so Karpoff and other Karpoff and other conspirators stopped building the MSGs altogether, selling thousands of the MSGs that not even exist to investors. All right, wait a minute. Building the MSGs altogether, selling thousands of MSGs that did not even exist to investors. All right, so they sold, again, something fake to people. They never manufactured it seems like, or manufactured very little of them, and they sold false promises. All right, to carry out this part of the fraud, Karpoff and others made it appear that MSGs existed in locations that did not. Swap vehicle identification number stickers on MSGs that have been built earlier and attempted to deceive certain investors during equipment inspections. In reality, at least half of the approximate 17,000 mobile solar generators claimed to have been manufactured by DC Solar did not exist. So half of them. There were 17,000 that were made, so roughly 8,500. Somebody do a math check for me. 8,500 would be half of 17,000, I believe. Somebody help me out. All right. Jeff Karpoff orchestrated the largest criminal fraud scheme in the history of the Eastern District of California. Don't you love this, how they love to use this flowery language to make these schemes seem bigger or like the biggest thing that ever happened to their courts? But that's what they do. I mean, this is what they do. Ah, man. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so Karpoff lived a luxurious life. Don't they always live a luxurious life? As a successful businessman, said Special Agent in Charge Mark H. Person. In reality, he manipulated the system to have advantage by lying to investors, promising significant federal tax credits, and laundering his ill-gotten gains. IRS criminal investigation will continue to work with our federal partners to ensure that anyone involved in these type schemes, no matter how big or how small, will be held accountable. So listen, these guys get off on taking down folks like this, all right? So Karpoff's egregious scheme fueled his rapacious, is that a word? Desire for luxury and prominence with showy public expenditures, including the purchase of a sports team. Wow. So he was balling. High-end collector vehicles, international real estate, and a NASCAR team. So he had a sports team and a NASCAR team, some international real estate, and high-end vehicles. Okay. And that's what the special agent in charge of the FBI Sacramento field office said. So listen to this. I thank the team of determined FBI special agents, forensic accountants are the people that look through everything, and professional staff who work tirelessly with IRS criminal investigations and FDIC, federally insured, that's the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, that's what FDIC stands for, of Inspector General to thoroughly investigate this complex case. Our office is committed to identifying and investigating financial fraud and encourage the public to report suspected frauds to tips. Now, what did that just tell you? It told me a lot. What did that sentence just tell y'all? Somebody chime in. Tell me what it told y'all. They wanted their cut. Jose says a family that frauds together goes to prison together. Yeah. All right, my app says when the federal government gets you, they have to justify that big sickness. Yep, yes, that does. But what does that sentence tell y'all? It tells me that these folks will stop at nothing to get your ass. That's what it tells me. They will call now. No, we know nothing's perfect, right? We know there's a lot of people that slip through the radars. But once you get on the radar, it's really hard to get off the radar. And once you are on the radar, if they decide to get you, more than likely they're going to get you. Period, point blank. All right? So today's sentencing recognizes the importance of holding Mr. Karpoff accountable for his role in conspiring with others to defraud investors of approximately $1 billion through the creation of a fraudulent business venture and using the proceeds for his and his wife's own personal gain. All right, so FDIC. So the FDIC OIG is committed to working with law enforcement. All right, so they're just saying it over and over again. The forfeiture included seizing and auctioning 148 of Carpaul's luxury and collector vehicles. 148. Okay, so he was getting to the money. Everybody love him. All right, including a 1978 Firebird previously owned by Burt Reynolds. If y'all don't remember Burt Reynolds, he was old guy in the racer, was Smokey the Bandit, I think it was. This historical auction resulted in recouping approximately $8.2 million. In addition to their collection of luxury and collector vehicles, Jeff and Paulette used money from the scheme to pay for a minor league professional baseball team and a NASCAR race car sponsorship, to purchase real estate in California, Nevada, and Caribbean, Mexico, and elsewhere, a subscription, private jet service, a suite at a professional football stadium, and jewelry. You know there's got to be some jewelry somewhere. All right, in addition, Carpaul's 5 other defendants have been charged with criminal offenses related to the fraud scheme. I'm not going to read the names. One guy's 47, one guy's 54, another guy is, okay, so they're all basically sentenced. One guy's 54 as well, okay, another guy's 54, another is 44, another guy's 50. So a former employee of a telecom company with which DC Solar purported to do business pled guilty on July 28, 2020 to participating in the fraud scheme and accepting a $1 million bribe to sign a false contract. Listen, folks, when you sign a thing and you are in federally regulated areas, telecom, banking, you're asking for it. You're asking for it. All right, so that's roughly the end of that one. All right, so this guy basically skated off with $1 billion, brought a whole bunch of property, brought a whole bunch of cars, was living lavish. So, again, it doesn't really pay to do crime. I mean, there's so many ways to make money nowadays. It doesn't pay to do crime, y'all. And yeah, I want you to think about this. There is no statute of limitations when it comes to defrauding the federal government. So if you file fraudulent tax returns, intentionally, knowingly, they can always come after you. What's the point? Why even go through that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a punk. Maybe I'm just built different. I ain't got time for none of that. As I get older and older, I don't want the stress, the problems, the headache of any of that stuff. I just want to go somewhere and sit down and maybe have a drink, see some nice scenery somewhere, and just be happy. Eat what I want, go where I want, do what I want. Why would you risk any of that? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Clearly, I'm not built for these streets. All right, so there's another one. The Ontario man who ran multi-million-dollar unlicensed Bitcoin exchange business sentenced to 3 years. All right, so I think this is the last one. What do y'all think? Y'all kind of quiet today. All right, so my app says when the federal government gets you, yeah, right, yep. Jose says they will coordinate a wide range attack prosecuting you. Yes, they will. All right, Gene Hammond says don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Facts, big facts. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. Still not getting it right. Yes, last one. What, you tired, Jose? You tired of me talking? All right, so Ontario man who ran a multi-million-dollar unlicensed Bitcoin exchange business sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Wait a minute, did we do this one already? No, this is another one out of Santa Ana. A lot of stuff out of California. So a San Bernardino County man was sentenced today to 36 months in federal prison for operating an unlicensed business that exchanged at least $13 million in Bitcoin and cash, often for drug traffickers. See what I was talking about? You see what I was talking about with Bitcoin? Part of the reason why Bitcoin gets, and all cryptos get a bad rep is because they often get commingled with some nefarious activities. So when y'all see Congress and Senate start to enact some things, I want y'all to think back to some of these cases. This is them building the case for more regulations on Bitcoin. I mean, it was already there, but when you see enough court docs and you see what's going on, even if a lot of people say it's not going to come or it's going to come later on because the government's always slow, just know it's coming. Just know. All right, so San Bernardino man, 13 million, right? So Hugo, I'm not going to try to read his name, just Hugo, of Ontario was sentenced by the United States District Judge Cormac Carney. Hugo pled guilty on July 1st to one count of operating an unlicensed money transmitting business and one count of money laundering. All right, so from May 2018 to September 2020, Hugo operated a virtual currency business that exchanged Bitcoin for cash and vice versa, charging commissions for these transactions. Hugo never registered his business with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, a bureau with the United States Department of the Treasury that collects and analyzes information to combat financial crimes, including money laundering. During the nearly 2.5-year period, according to the plea arrangement, Hugo exchanged at least 13 million. So listen, it was on it popping for a good 2.5 years. What's that, about 30 months? I mean, he was good money out here. Hugo also established companies to mask his true activity, including Worldwide Secure Communications, LLC, World Security Data, and the HODL Group. Hugo advertised his business online and was referred to customers by word of mouth, communicating with them via encrypted messaging services and meeting them in person at coffee shops. On several occasions between May 21st and May 2020, Hugo met with a client who was working with law enforcement. So they had somebody on wiretap, right, to exchange Bitcoin for tens of thousands of dollars in cash. On March 12th, 2020, Hugo met with the client at a coffee shop in Irvine and facilitated the exchange of 14.273 Bitcoin for $82,150 in cash plus fees. During this meeting, the client informed Hugo that his primary customer was a methamphetamine buyer in Australia who purchased methamphetamines every 4 to 6 weeks and sold it in Australia for 5 times more than the average price in the United States. Hugo and the client, who was working with law enforcement, conducted 5 Bitcoin cash transactions that cumulatively, let me back up. Hugo and the guy was working with law enforcement, conducted 5 Bitcoin cash transactions that cumulatively exceeded $250,000. So that's $250,000, folks. Hugo knew about the applicable regulations governing his money exchange business and purposefully flaunted them. Prosecutors wrote in sentencing memorandum. Now, sometimes these prosecutors like to pipe stuff up. I mean, we all know that. All right, so this is because Hugo structured his money exchange business with the intent to establish an anonymous conduit for money laundering of drug trafficking proceeds. As part of his plea arrangement with the government, Hugo agreed to forfeit all assets derived from the illegal conduct, including $233,000 in seized cash from residents in Santa Ana and Ontario, silver coins and bars. Everybody's into these precious metals, I see. And approximately $95,000 in various cryptocurrencies seized. All right, so the IRS Criminal Investigation, Homeland Security, and Costa Mesa Police Department work together on this. Crime really does not pay, y'all. Crime don't pay. It's not worth the hassle at all. Because, I mean, listen, you get to fly high for a little bit, You get to eat good for a little bit. You get to ride good, fly good, live good. And then a lot of times, all of a sudden, at the snap of a finger, they pull the rug out under you. That would lead to depression for me. I don't know about y'all, but I'm doing $13 million in exchanges. I got nice food. I got nice clothes. I got nice vehicles. I got a nice pad to live in. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. Like literally, it was all good just a week ago, and your life changed in an instant. Jose says it pays well, though, just not for the criminal. Facts. All right, so listen, we've been here for about an hour. I promised y'all I would come back, even though I'm dog tired. I came back. I was a man of my word. All right, and y'all showed up too, so I appreciate y'all as well. But I'm interested. Before we go, I want y'all to help me out with something. So I posted something on YouTube. I asked the question on YouTube, and I want to get you guys input on this because it's 2022. It's time to step up. It's time to do some things, and I'm trying to get better, y'all, and I need y'all help. So I want to pose this question to y'all, the same question I posed to my YouTube community. Give me 1 second. I want to show it to you all. Internet's moving a little slow. So where do we have it here? All right, so here we go. I want you all to answer this question for me real quick. It's real simple. So what kind of content would y'all like for me to continue to create as we go into 2022? So I asked this question. What type of content do you want from me? Tax commentary, investment commentary, Black's wealth commentary, political commentary, social commentary. And I put all those in there, right, because Black wealth actually straddles tax, investments, political, and social, if you really think about it, right? Tax commentary, everybody knows I'm a tax pro. Investment commentary, everybody knows I am a recovering financial advisor and a former portfolio manager, stock market portfolio manager. So I wanted to know, what do y'all want? You are here with me tonight. What would y'all like? Chime in. Now is not the time for y'all to be quiet. Y'all got to be stakeholders in this process. I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear what you're thinking, see what you're saying. All right, Jose chimed in. All right, so again, what would y'all like to hear more from me about? Tax commentary, investment commentary, Black wealth commentary. Now, the Black wealth commentary got the highest votes out of 53 votes. 45% of the votes were for Black wealth commentary. And if y'all want to chime in on this poll, go ahead on over to my YouTube channel, which you can find as The Finance Rebel on YouTube, and cast your vote. All right, and there's a couple of comments under here as well. Let's get to those. All right, my man Donnie Bryant. Donnie has been on the show before, email master. All right, I agree with all of these are valuable. I'd be most excited about Black wealth content from you. Okay? Let me give Donnie a thumbs up too. All right, Michael Bryce. Shout out to Michael Bryce. All of the above, sir. Your content is much needed for the growth for the Black community. Okay? Appreciate that. All right, Donnie co-signed his appreciation. All right, and Cherie, the business plan writer from the 10K Project. Y'all check out the 10K Project. All right, she says all of it. All right, so again, I want to know, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Help me out, because that'll guide me, because sometimes I'm like, people don't want to hear about that. And no, I don't always make content that I feel that y'all want. I try to be considerate, but I also talk about things that are really, really important. Like right now, the Senate just voted down Voting Rights Act. So there's potentially a problem. Coming up. And I know a lot of times we don't want to talk about politics, but listen, politics affects us from the time that we're born to the time that we die. There is no running from it. And the only thing that happens when we run from it is we let those folks who don't like us get away with everything that they want to do without us even knowing about it. So the fact that we don't even know about it means that they can plan in the middle of the night, skate off with our homes, skate off with our land, skate off with our women, miseducate our children, kill our children, and we won't even know what they're planning. I don't like that idea. I want to know. Let me know that the war is coming. All right, so Jose says, continue relating how all facets of life involve financial involvement. Okay, Jose, you didn't answer the question though, man. I'm looking for direction. Somebody help me out. Give me some direction, please. All right, but thank you, Jose. All right, Free Heart says tax commentary number 1, investment commentary number 2, number 3, 1 and 2. And 1 and 2 are political commentary, social commentary. Okay. Applied to current news. Okay. All right, investment and social commentary, Gene Hammond. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right, cool. Appliance Boot Camp. Shout out to Appliance Boot Camp. That's my man Michael Sneed over there. Just did his show. That's part of the reason why I'm tired. Mike had me on his show. Thank you for having me, Mike. He says, talk about black wealth, passing down assets. Absolutely. If y'all saw, I had Rhonda Anderson on last week. I think it was last week, right? Where we asked the question, does all real estate investment need to be owned in an LLC? I thought Rhonda was awesome. Rhonda also, again, is an attorney. She loves to talk about estate planning. So Rhonda will be back to talk about estate planning, particularly how it involves our community. And if you remember, Rhonda also dropped a great jewel about the Philadelphia Tangled Title Fund, right? Because there's a lot of tangled titles here in Philadelphia. So listen, y'all need to be subscribed to my YouTube channel. Y'all need to like all the shows. Y'all need to leave comments on the shows. Y'all got to trigger the algorithm to let them know that this stuff is good. I mean, if you really think it's good, only the votes can tell. Only the votes can tell. So listen, I'm really working to get more content that's actionable, that's usable. And I got some other stuff, right? Some other opportunities have dropped in my lap to talk about some people who have done some great work in the past, like some major figures. So we'll definitely be putting that together as well. All right, so tax commentary, investment commentary, black wealth commentary, political commentary, social commentary. If you have not chimed in on this conversation, y'all, put a comment in the chat. I beg of thee. Remember, you're watching the Finance Rebel Show. My name is Kamari Ellis. I am your host. I am a tax accountant, a recovering financial advisor, and a former portfolio manager, stock portfolio manager. So I love to do these videos to inform our community about, one, the possibilities that making money creates for our community to better our community, right? Two, I like talking about these things because it helps us combat the assault that we receive from those folks that don't like us too much. I do believe wealth creation is a form of rebellion, right? If you're not just sitting at home watching TV, sucking on a lollipop, that means you're doing something. That means you're getting active. That means you're a positive contributor to your family and your community's growth and development. That's important to me. Hopefully it's important to y'all too. All right, so do me a favor, share this out with somebody, with a friend or two. And if you have not had a chance, go on over and find the Finance Rebel Show on all podcast platforms: Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. Go on over and take a listen to some of those content, some of those shows, some of those episodes, excuse me. All right, so Free Heart said Rhonda was great. Okay, thank you. Said it was a great show. Jose says Rhonda dropped major jewels. Yes, she is. Yes, she did. All right, Gene says also look into how people are losing the titles to their homes by thieves. Yes, we talked a little bit about that. There are definitely a lot of people who are transferring deeds Sometimes when people die, they get to transfer the deed before anybody else. There's a lot that sometimes some of these people are transferring deeds to people that are actually still living in the homes. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So let's see here. So I'm still getting comments. I don't know if anybody watched the new $600 rule video that I did. Some good, some bad. Some people call me some names, but it's all good. I understand. All right, so again, chime in, y'all. There's about 13 of us. Did I see 13 different commentaries, 13 different votes? If you haven't done so just yet, remember to like, comment, and share. All right, remember to like, comment, and share this video. The algorithm works off of what you all do in reaction to my videos. So if you like my videos and you give the algorithm triggers that say you like it, you love it, you need it, you want it, the algorithm will then show it to more people. All right, so listen, again, I appreciate you all being here. I will be back next Wednesday. I might be back before then, but guaranteed I will be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. And next week, we are going to be talking about the appliance boot camp. My man, Michael Sneed, who has trained over 1,500 people how to get into the appliance business. Maybe it's something you want to get into. Maybe it's something your aunt, niece, uncle, nephew might want to get into, but it's a great way to make some money. All right. And as of course, be sure to check in with the text community. All right. Text me because I don't want to just be beholden to these platforms. These platforms are all rented land. So get on the text community, 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. So we can always stay in touch. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, I will see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend, everybody. So long. Be great.